Imagine standing on the surface of Mars. It sounds like the ultimate frontier, a place so distant and hostile that only a tiny fraction of humanity will ever see it. But the truth is, we have better maps of the Martian surface than we do of our own ocean floor. We have sent dozens of probes to the red planet, yet only a handful of humans have ever reached the deepest point of our own world. We live in an age where you can book a flight to almost any corner of the globe, hike the highest peaks of the Himalayas, and even buy a seat on a suborbital rocket if you have the cash. But there is one place on Earth where you are effectively, legally, and physically forbidden from going. The deep sea isn't just a destination, it's a fortress. It is the only place on our map that remains a literal no-go zone for the human race. And the reasons why are far more terrifying than just a bit of water pressure. Have you ever wondered why we spend billions of dollars trying to leave this planet while 95% of our own ocean remains unexplored? Why is it that the deeper we go, the more the world seems to want us dead? Today, we're diving into the abyss to uncover why the deep sea is the only place on Earth humans aren't allowed to go. To understand why the deep sea is off limits, we first have to understand the sheer, soul-crushing physics of the descent. Most of us have dived into a swimming pool and felt that slight pop in our ears. That is the weight of the water pressing against you. Now imagine that weight multiplied by 1,000. For every 10 meters you descend, the pressure increases by 1 atmosphere. By the time you reach the bottom of the Mariana Trench, you're looking at over 8 tons of pressure per square inch. To put that in perspective, it is the equivalent of having an elephant stand on your thumb. But it isn't just one elephant, it is an entire herd of elephants pressing down on every single millimeter of your body. At those depths, the very chemistry of your body begins to fail. The air we breathe becomes toxic, and the structures we build to protect us become fragile shells. In space, if a seal breaks, you lose air. In the deep sea, if a seal breaks, you are instantly turned into a pulp before your brain even has time to register the pain. This is why the deep sea is the ultimate gatekeeper. It doesn't just ask for your respect, it demands your total submission to the laws of physics that do not apply on the surface. But why haven't we conquered it yet? We've built pressurized cabins for jets and space stations. The problem is that while we're great at keeping air in, we're terrible at keeping the ocean out. Think about a submarine. Most military submarines only go down to about 500 meters. Any deeper, and the hull risks a catastrophic implosion. To reach the Hadal Zone, the deepest parts of the ocean, you need specialized spheres made of titanium or synthetic foam that can cost tens of millions of dollars. There is no such thing as a budget trip to the abyss. This is the first reason humans aren't allowed there. The entry fee is too high, and the risk of death is nearly 100%. But let's look past the physics for a moment. There is an invisible fence around the deep sea, a barrier of logistics and law that most people never see. Because the deep sea is largely located in international waters, it is governed by a complex web of regulations that make exploration nearly impossible for the average person. The International Seabed Authority and various global treaties have designated huge swaths of the ocean as protected or restricted. But beyond the law, there is the sheer logistics of it. If you get into trouble on the moon, you have a support team at NASA. If you get into trouble at 30,000 feet under the sea, no one can hear you scream, and, more importantly, no one can reach you. There is no rescue vehicle on Earth that can save a stranded submersible at the bottom of the trench. You are essentially on another planet, but with 1 billion tons of water between you and safety. This total isolation is why governments and private entities are so hesitant to allow deep-sea tourism. One mistake doesn't just cause a tragedy, it creates an international incident that is almost impossible to resolve. And then we have to talk about what's actually down there. We often think of the deep sea as a silent, empty void, but the reality is much weirder. The creatures that live in the abyssal zone have evolved in an environment that should be impossible for life. They deal with freezing temperatures, perpetual darkness, and pressures that would dissolve human bones. Many of these organisms don't even rely on the sun for energy. They feed on chemicals spewing from hydrothermal vents. This brings us to a chilling realization. The deep sea is an alien ecosystem right here on Earth. Some scientists argue that we shouldn't be going down there because our very presence could contaminate an environment that has been isolated for millions of years. Every time we send a probe or a submersible down, we risk introducing surface bacteria or pollutants into a pristine world. There is a school of thought that the deep sea is a biological sanctuary, a place where life follows a different set of rules, and our intrusion is not just dangerous, but unethical. Is it possible that the ocean is keeping us out for its own protection? But let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture. We often hear rumors about secret underwater bases or military experiments hidden in the depths. While most of that is the stuff of conspiracy theories, there is a grain of truth in the idea that the deep sea is a strategic no-man's land. The ocean floor is crisscrossed with thousands of miles of fiber optic cables that carry nearly all of the world's internet traffic. These cables are the nervous system of the modern world, and they are incredibly vulnerable. Because of this, many parts of the ocean floor are heavily monitored by acoustic sensors and naval patrols. If you try to take a private submersible into certain areas, you're not just fighting the water, you're potentially tripping a silent alarm for a global superpower. The deep sea is the ultimate hiding spot for submarines, sensors, and potentially things we're not supposed to know about. This adds a layer of human-imposed restriction to the natural ones. We're not allowed to go because the depths are where the world's secrets are kept. Think about the maps again. We have mapped the entire surface of the moon to a resolution of 7 meters, but for most of the ocean, our maps are only accurate to about 5 kilometers. That means we could have entire mountain ranges or deep canyons down there that we don't even know exist. This lack of knowledge is a choice. It is a result of the extreme difficulty and the lack of commercial incentive. Why go to the bottom of the ocean when there's no gold, no air, and no way to build a hotel? The deep sea is the only place on Earth where there is no profit to be made from human presence, at least not yet. Without a reason to go, and with every reason to stay away, the abyss remains the world's largest forbidden zone. So while we continue to look at the stars and dream of traveling to distant galaxies, maybe we should take a moment to look down. The most alien world we will ever encounter isn't light years away. It's right beneath our feet, separated by a few miles of water and a barrier of physics that we may never truly break. The deep sea is the ultimate travel destination that you will never visit, the one place on Earth where the sign clearly reads, "No humans allowed." What do you think is hidden in the parts of the ocean we haven't mapped? Do you think we should spend more effort exploring the abyss, or are some things better left in the dark? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most fascinating mysteries. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.